Hello, everyone. Myself, Dhruti Goswami, and in artificial intelligence, so far we have covered natural language processing. Uh, Processing chapter, we have tried to make our system to understand the language that we speak, and for that we have already learned topics like synthetic and semantic analysis. In this lecture, we are going to learn discourse analysis and pragmatic processing. Discourse analysis is something when I'm saying something, when I'm speaking some sentences, I have to understand the meaning and the context in which I'm saying the sentences, right? So in discourse analysis, we have to understand the sentence. Its meaning is dependent on its preceding one. So to understand the meaning of current sentence, I have to understand the sentence which I've already spoken, which is its preceding sentence. To understand this with a more clear view, let us take an example. If I say I have a red pen and I want to write with it, so what is the meaning of it here? What does it mean? Right? So there should be some meaning of it here. So I am saying I want to write with it where it is red pen, right? So it is discourse analysis. So we have to make system which understand this context, right? So we have to provide textual data and it will understand what I am saying and what I actually want, right? In pragmatic processing, we have to understand the context and feeling, human feeling, right? So it is beyond text. In discourse analysis, we are actually working with textual data. In pragmatic analysis, we are not working with textual data only. We have to understand the real world meaning of that sentence also, right? So it is beyond textual data. It is something real world. We have to make our system, which we are claiming to be artificial intelligent system, to understand the human feeling. So it is common for us, but not for the system that we are developing. It is just hardware, right? So let's take an example of pragmatic processing. If one of the students have scored 12 marks out of 30, and I'm saying to that student, oh, you have scored great marks. What is, in which context I'm saying? What do you understand by it? Actually, I'm not praising that student, but I am taunting that student that you should score more. You have scored very low. You have not done any great job, right? So I'm taunting that student. In return, in response, that student thanks me, then I would get irritated. Anyone would, right? So pragmatic processing is something in which we have to understand the real feeling, in which context I'm saying, whether I'm taunting or not, whether I'm ordering something or requesting something or what, right? So that real feeling of human has to be understood by our system, right? So that is pragmatic processing. While the context and semantic work with sentence length unit, discourse focuses on the properties of the text as a whole that conveys meaning by making connection between components of sentences. Right? So discourse will set up connection, will make connection between different component of sentences or between two sentences, right? So it will completely work on the properties of the text that we have provided. Okay, discourse is any string of language which is usually more than one sentence long. Text, novels, weather reports, agenda, conversation are all discourse, right? So to understand discourse, we have to understand the previous sentences as well, right? So there might be possibility that one sentence is not independent. We can understand the meaning and we can understand or interpret that sentence just by understanding the previous one. For example, two person having conversation in a room and you just entered to that room in the middle of conversation. You won't get anything. Whatever they are saying, you do not get the context of that conversation, why they are talking this much, right? So you won't get it. So that is discourse. You have to understand all of the sentences and then only you can understand the context. When working in real world, it is important to understand the discourse than just the set of sentences, right? So independent sentence won't work. It won't give you the meaning. So whenever we are working in real world, we have to understand the discourse. There are a number of important relationships that may hold between phrases and part of their discourse context, including, so we have different types of discourse that we should understand, right? So let's get going. To understand a single sentence, it is necessary to consider the discourse in pragmatic context, right? Not just discourse, right? कहाँ से क्या जा रहा है, मतलब क्या meaning हो रहा है. We don't have to understand that only. We have to understand the context of these sentences that we have spoken, right? So let's take first one, identical entities, right? Let's consider two sentences. Bill had a red balloon and John wanted it. So what if I say only one sentence, John wanted it? What do you mean by that? What do you understand by it? So there is nothing. What is the meaning of it here in the second one, second sentence? We do not know until we know the preceding sentence, until we interpret the preceding sentence, which is Bill had a red balloon. So what John wants? Red balloon. So the meaning or context of the second one is there in the first one. If we understand the first one, first sentence, then only we can understand the second one, right? So this reference is termed as anaphor. Okay. Second is part of entities. Consider the text. Sue opened the book she just bought. The title page was torn. So what if I give you only one sentence? The title page was torn. What do you mean by it? What is title page here? Title page of what? To understand that, we must know the first one, first sentence. You open the book she just bought. So the title page of newly bought book, right? So the phrase title page should be recognized as a part of the book that is just bought by Sue, right? So here also, one phrase, title page, is part of another entity, part of book which was just bought by Sue, right? So this is also discourse. Third one, part of actions. Consider the text. John went on a business trip to New York. He left on an early morning flight. So to understand the meaning of second one, he left on an early morning flight. Where and why did he go? So he went to New York to attend business meeting or business trip. To understand that, understand the meaning, or to understand about his trip or why did he took this flight, we have to understand the purpose behind it. And the purpose behind this action is he wanted to go on a business trip to New York, right? So so far we have understood the meaning of second sentence by asking WH question, right? So we can study discourse by asking WH, by raising WH question about the second sentence. Why, when, who, right? So these are the WH questions, right? So WH questions can be asked to understand discourse. Next is entities involved in action. Consider the text. My house was broken into last week. Moreover, they took the TV and the stereo. Right? So the meaning of my house was broken doesn't mean my house was broken. मतलब वो टूट नहीं गया है. Broken means someone किसी ने मेरा घर लूट लिया है, राइट, चोरी हुई है मेरे घर में. So it means that only. So they took TV and stereo along with them, right? So the pronoun they here means the burglars who broke into the house. Next is entity of set. Consider the text. We have apple, bananas, and papayas in a basket. I'll take 2 bananas. From where I will take 2 bananas? I'll take bananas from basket of fruit, right? So bananas is a part of basket. It is there in basket. So it is a element of something else, some set. Here that set is basket, right? So 2 bananas from basket. Name of individuals. They went to the movies. So whom I'm talking about here? Which Dev? Right, there it is possible that we have so many Dev in the world. So we must understand about whom we are talking. Right? कौन से देव की बात हो रही है यहाँ पे, वो हमें पता होना चाहिए. Okay. Next is casual chains. There was a big snowstorm yesterday, so the school closed today. So why schools are closed today? What is the reason behind it? Because there was big snowstorm yesterday, right? So these are the chain of actions. Yesterday there was a big snowstorm and today schools are closed. So the reason behind closed school is snowstorm. Next is planning sequences. Sally wanted a new car. She decided to get a job. So why she wants to get a job? What is the reason behind getting a job? There is only one reason, that she wants a new car, right? So she has planned to purchase new car, and for that she has to work hard and have job, right? So that is why she decided to take up a job. And lastly, implicit presuppositions. Did Joe fail CS 101? So I must understand, or we must understand, or our intelligent system must understand what is the meaning of CS 101. So it must some course in which Joe has failed, right? So Joe must have applied for some course and in which he has failed, right? So we must ask, what is CS 101? It must be some course. Which course? CS 101, right? So this is discourse. There are some problems in discourse, like first one, the current focus on the dialogue, right? So it basically works on the dialogue. It will completely focus on dialogue. It will focus on the meaning of previous one as well as the current one. So we must have pair of sentences, or we must have sentences which are dependent on one another. Also a model of each participant's current belief, right? So यहाँ पे जितने भी पार्टिसिपेंट है उनके करंट बिलीफ को शो कर रहे हैं. इफ वी आर कंसिडरिंग अ कन्वर्सेशन, देन दे आर हैविंग देयर ओन बिलीफ. कोई कुछ बोल रहा है, you won't get whatever they are saying, right? You won't get from their perspective. कई बार ऐसा होता है कि कोई लोग टोंट मारते, बट वी डू नॉट गेट दैट टोंट, वी डू नॉट अंडरस्टैंड दैट लैंग्वेज ऑफ टोंटिंग, right? So we do not understand their current belief, right? So this model is completely dependent on participants current belief, and it is possible that their current belief may change, right? It is just current belief, so it is there are possibility of changing beliefs. Moreover, the goal driven characters of dialogue, right? So it is discourse is completely based on dialogues, right? So goal can be derived from the dialogues only. You have to understand the dialogue, you have to understand the meaning of these dialogues, right? So after that only you can go to or conclude your goal. The rules of conversation shared by all participants. So there must be some rules that should be followed by all the participants who are participating in this conversation to make it simpler, right? We can make one rule that no one will taunt anyone. Why? Because there are many people who doesn't understand this taunting language. They won't understand whether you are taunting, asking, ordering, or requesting something, right? So they won't understand that. So this kind of uh, sentences where one cannot understand the context behind it should be set aside, should be kept aside, right? So ऐसे rules हम बना सकते हैं, right? That should be followed by all the participants who are there in that conversation.